Mikayla, thanks for joining me. I'm trying to keep it cool, I'll be honest.
Thank you for having me. This is super awesome. I love your podcast. I've listened to quite a few episodes. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And I actually today, you probably don't see this because you have so much going on your TikTok account, but I've kind of started this thing. Not really. I've had 2 videos where when you review a product that's just so absurd and like so crazy, I have to get it. So earlier today, I did a TikTok video and I got the like dildo applicator, that lay thing.
The lay, yup.
That the texture of that on my skin. I mean, that felt wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it feels so strange, but it works so good. So like
Yeah, I mean that's true. I hate that the beauty blender absorbs so much of the makeup. I feel like I'm paying all this money for my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk to only use a third of the bottle.
Yeah, it does definitely change your perspective when you see that the lay absorbs absolutely no product and you're just like, wow, I really have been wasting a lot of product.
Yeah, so true. But safe to say, your videos are very influential. And, I'm a big fan of everything that you post, but I'm excited to like get to know you and hear about kind of your start and where you came from. And I know this has been like a whirlwind, right? Weren't you working for like Ulta Beauty just 2 years ago? And now you are the makeup industry.
Thank you. Yeah.
So you're from Boston?
Contrary to popular belief, I am not from Boston.
Oh, wow. I got to do my prep better.
No, a lot of people think that because of how I speak, but I'm actually from South Coast, Massachusetts. I'm from a very small town with only 9,000 people, and I live near a town called Fall River, which is kind of where my accent comes from. It comes from my dad and all that. So, but yeah, it gets mixed up a lot, but I love Boston and I go there all the time, but I'm not from there.
Well, that's great. Either way, your accent, I know everyone who follows you, they love it. It's so great. And I have one friend from Boston, so that's why I was like drawing the connection. But great to know. So have you always been into makeup? Like since you were a young girl, were you playing with makeup, putting it on? When did your love for that first start?
Makeup has been my whole life for as long as I can remember, truly. So when I was 8 years old, my dad and I started working at a haunted house, a local haunted house, because I needed community service hours for a peer leader group I was in. So every night we started going to this haunted house, and immediately I was hooked on watching the makeup artists do the special effects on the cast. And I just like, I would spend all my time in that room just watching them. And I was only 8 years old. And I stayed at that haunted house until I was 18. So I was there for over 10 years. I was there for an incredibly long time. And it was kind of like a mini apprenticeship where I got to watch these special effects makeup artists do this makeup. And when I was 15, I actually, asked for the opportunity to be a makeup artist at this haunted house. And that's when I started doing the special effects makeup on the cast. And that's when I kind of fell in love with it. My mom is actually an artist. She has a degree in art and she did it for a living and stuff. So there's definitely a lot of that in my family, very artistic people. It was pretty much that experience for me that got me into makeup. And then like for Christmas, I started asking for only makeup. Like that's all I wanted. Sephora gift cards, all the latest makeup drops and all that. And that I started really looking forward to Christmas because that was like the only time I would get makeup, and it just kind of it blew up from there. I've just been so passionate about it for like more than a decade,
So were you wearing a lot of makeup in like middle school?
I was 100% the only person wearing makeup when I was like 10 years old. Thankfully I have a mother who, because she's super artistic, she was so okay with me wearing makeup. And that's a message that I try to push. Like, a lot of people think, like, oh, you're too young to wear makeup. I don't agree with that at all. Like, it's just art on the face. It's literally painting a canvas on your face. You do these crazy looks, and it's just for fun. So yeah, I was doing blue eyeliner and crazy colors on my eyes in middle school, high school. And I loved every moment of it.
Well, I think a lot of that comes from the fine line between art and self-expression and creativity and feeling insecure and I have to put this on to go outside and look a certain way. So did you feel like you really leaned into the art self-expression, bucket, or did you ever sense yourself in the beginning feeling like you noticed enhancements to your aesthetic?
Right. So, like, I think, like you said, there's those two paths you can go down, right? You can go down the artistic path where you're just doing this fun, colorful, really you're just doing it as that. And then you can go down the path of I'm insecure, I maybe am struggling with my self-esteem, and makeup can help, pick me up from that. And it's a weird line because I was doing both. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was so like this makeup that I have on right now is not the standard of beauty, right? Like people aren't wearing this makeup on the daily.
For people listening, Mikayla, let me describe. She's got a beautiful emerald green shimmery lid, beautiful rosy cheeks, a highlight. It's definitely a very fun green high. Is that green highlight I'm seeing?
Green highlighter, yup.
Love that. That you're giving like my friend Chris just had a video today. You're giving sexy Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, so like I think for me, the way I do my makeup with the dramatic eyes, the bold blush, the green highlighter, that is what makes me feel confident in my skin. For other people, it's just that natural, a little bit of mascara, a little bit of brow gel, and it makes them feel, happy in their skin. So it really depends on the person. But I think like when you make makeup fun, that's when it's the best. If you're just using makeup, as a way to overcome insecurity, that's great, but try to make it a little bit fun so it doesn't feel like just a job, when you wake up in the morning like, oh, I have to do this to feel good about myself. Try to transform that to be, oh, I want to do this to feel good about myself. I want to do this because it makes me smile. It brings me energy. It makes me feel good,
Definitely. And it's interesting the way that society created the conversation around makeup because similar to you, I'm not saying I'm not a good makeup artist, but I value creativity. I love painting. I love drawing. Like that stuff is fun for me. And so I'm sitting here now at like 24 and I'm just starting to get into makeup. I know how to do my eyeshadow now. It's so exciting. Like I love it. But sitting here now, even thinking back on being a kid and you saying your mom was supportive, society like almost pushed, at least my grandma and my mom, oh, be a natural beauty. Don't put all of that on your face. Like it was a very negative thing to put on a lot of makeup.
Oh yeah, and that, like you said, I think it varies, where you grew up or who your family is and how they're raising people, and like it's so different whoever you talk to, what their experience is with makeup. And I think I am seeing a shift though, and I think social media has a lot to do with that, where like it's okay to not be natural, whatever that means to someone. For me, that means, the bold, crazy, colorful eye looks and dyeing my hair every few months. Like it's a way of self-expression, and I hope that's kind of where we're going with makeup, rather than it just being to fit the beauty standard. It can be so much more than that, and it can just, for me, makeup is literally just fun, and I think I'd like it to go more in that direction for people, and I hope it does.
So obviously in the beginning, makeup is for you. It's this creative way to express yourself. It's art. Once you start putting yourself out there online, the door does open for judgment and critique. And I don't like the way the brows look here, or why would you use these colors together? And that judgment creeps in. So when you first started putting yourself out there online, did you have any insecurities about that? And what were the hardest things you kind of worked through?
Yeah, it's interesting because I grew up, I didn't fit in growing up, and I was definitely bullied growing up.
Why do you say you didn't fit in? What was it?
So when I say I didn't fit in, I kind of mean like I was always the overweight girl. I, I was always the makeup girl, and it wasn't said in a nice way, if that makes any sense. I remember the first time I was ever bullied. I was in kindergarten. I was very young, and a group of boys came up to me. We were getting in line to go to lunch, and they all started grabbing the fat on my body and, calling me names. And it's crazy that I have that vivid memory of me in kindergarten. It's such a random memory, but it was the first time I ever felt, let down by society. And I think that all those times throughout my life where I was bullied and just taunted or made fun of or made to be felt that I was not good enough or I didn't fit in, that kind of pushed me to be okay with some of the comments I receive on social media. For instance, I definitely get a lot of comments about my voice, and I definitely came to expect that when I started putting myself out there on the internet, because I definitely have a different voice, and that's been a topic of conversation my whole life. So I had to get used to that. It definitely hurt in the beginning hearing comments about my voice. But the one thing that was special about me going on social media is the people who love makeup and are passionate about makeup, they're gonna find you. So for me growing up, I wasn't surrounded by anybody who loved makeup as much as I did or who was passionate about it. But when I started putting myself out there on social media, all these people who related to makeup, who loved makeup, who felt passionate about makeup, they just started running towards me because we click, we connect, and it's thankfully I have the most positive community. I know on social media it can be a little scary. Is your community really negative? Is it really positive? But mine is so positive that it's incredible, and it makes me want to post every day.
Oftentimes when people are bullied, they kind of have this thought process of, oh, I'm getting made fun of or I'm excluded because I am different in this way from other people. Did you ever feel like you needed to stop wearing as much makeup or you need to adjust certain things in your life to try to fit in? Because just me being an outsider looking in, you tell the stories of you when you were younger, and then now it's like that's all your superpower. The thing that the people bullied you for is what's made you this huge success. So throughout point A to B, did you ever lose sight of your true self?
So it's interesting because I've always loved being different. I don't know why. I never wanted to fit in. So I would just do what I could to be different, whether it was the makeup or dressing, in fun, funky colors and cool dresses and everything. I definitely just continued to be myself throughout my whole life. I've always been myself. I think the one time I really struggled was when I got into college and I said to myself, okay, I'm going to a new school with a ton of new people. I do this crazy bold makeup and I don't think I'm going to fit in at this college. And I made, in my opinion, a terrible decision to totally change who I was. I bleached, dyed my hair blonde. I lost a ton of weight. I changed my entire wardrobe. I changed how I acted and how I spoke. And I did all that to fit in college. And it didn't take me very long to realize that was a mistake. And within 6 to 12 months, I'd say my freshman year of college, I said, what am I doing? And I completely went back to the real me, I guess. And I dyed my hair black again. I started doing my crazy makeup again. I changed my wardrobe back to what it was. And that was definitely a very important time in my life where I realized, if you change yourself to fit in or to be someone you're not, you're going to be unhappy. And I was very unhappy like that. So, yeah.
I was going to ask, what did it feel like to wake up every morning but not actually be who you wanted to be?
Yeah, it's I don't know why we do that as a society. I think, we at any age that can happen to someone where they're just I need to fit in. But it made me feel like I was someone else, and I didn't even know myself. It made me feel like I was losing my sense of self, and it just wasn't working out for me. And at the same time, that can cause you to meet the wrong people and become friends with the wrong people, and put yourself in the wrong crowds. And I was definitely doing that as well. And it took me a little bit to kind of reel it back in and go back to being myself. But I have to say now, I am my most authentic self. And honestly, TikTok has helped me a lot with that, because I feel so accepted on the app. And I love that I can just be myself to everybody.
Yeah. And being yourself, honestly, is the key to, I think, a lot of happiness in life. And when we look at people who, like, maybe if you're anxious, and not to generalize, but I'll speak personally, when I was anxious, it was because am I going to play well? Am I going to be good enough? What happens if I don't get the starting spot on my volleyball team? If I don't have straight A's, like what happens if I'm not popular and I'm not invited? You know, it's like a lot of fears about how we're going to be perceived and like trying to fit that mold. And while I didn't have as drastic of a mask pulled up on myself like you did your freshman year, I was very particular about only letting people see a version of me that was the absolute best. But only I knew that I came home at night and was binge eating everything in the pantry and then crying because I hated the way my body looked, and then face tuning my photos and then posting the bikini photo with Sunday Fun Day as the caption, you know?
Yeah.
And then I feel like everyone's done that. And then eventually, you know, it just brings you to this place where you're not living your truth so much to a point where like you start to actually like lose sight of that and become dull, and it's dark. And then, you know, once you accept, hey, this is who I am, I'm going to show up this way in the world, and people are going to ride with me. Great. They're going to ride with me. But I need to like ride with myself first, almost, you know? So how did you come to like love and feel confident in going back to the dark hair and the makeup and saying, this is me, and I don't care what the repercussions might be or what that voice in my head might tell me is going to happen?
Yeah. It was so hard to like accept myself and just realize that, like, Mikayla, you need to really learn who you are. Because if you do not know who you are, you just struggle. So for me, I've talked about my eating disorder history on my page a few times, but when I was 16, I got really into bodybuilding. And I decided that I wanted to get into competing, get into physique competitions, and I just started to drastically lose weight. I started becoming increasingly stronger. I was, you know, six-pack abs, muscly, and I thought that I would be happier if I was, you know, shredded.
We all do. We're like, if I could snap my fingers and have the perfect body, I always used to think if I could have the perfect body and it would never change, my life would be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I get to a point where I'm an extra small, and I'm the smallest I've ever been in jeans, and I'm obsessively taking pictures of my thin waist in the mirror because, oh my god, it looks incredible. I feel so good, and taking pictures of my ass in the mirror, like, oh, it's so fat, like I'm so sexy, and like it just, that was what was fulfilling me at the time. And when I got to college and I started making all these changes, and I'm like really losing myself, I finally, my eating disorder hits me really hard, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like I felt like I was gonna die, because that eating disorders can get that bad. You know, you can get really, really sick. And I'm at a point where I'm really sick, and then I'm saying to myself, what is this for? What is this? Who am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? And what am I going to get from this? Like, literally. And that's when, you know, I started going to treatment and stuff, and I got better. But that's when I realized, like, who are you living your life for? Because you need to live it for yourself. Yes, you can be selfless and do things for other people, and you know, live in a world where you're caring and empathetic and all that. But if you are neglecting yourself, no. Like, so that's when I really said to myself, all right, so my sophomore year of college, that's when I'm like, this is my year to just be myself. And that's when I met my best friends in college. That's when I started having the most fun in college. That's when my sophomore year was one of my best years in college because I started discovering myself, and it was the best time. And now I have to say it's just liberating to do that.
As you said yourself, you don't want to be normal. Like you didn't want to just like fit this classic traditional mold. That said, how have you approached the stares and the comments and knowing that when you walk into a room, people are going to judge you by like the way that you did your makeup or the outfit that you wore? Because everyone struggles with caring what people think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, in middle school, high school, college, I was the makeup girl. Like, people would say that. People would say, oh, that's the makeup girl. Like, not my name, just the makeup girl. And it being said in a negative way, especially by men, unfortunately. But for me, I'm like, yes, please stare. Like, please look at me. Like, whatever.
I worked hard on this.
I genuinely do not care if someone looks at me. Like, please have fun. Look at me. Like, yes, I spent 3 hours on this makeup. Please stare at it. Like, I want someone to see my work. And even if they're not seeing it as art the way I'm seeing it, that's fine. Because they're talking about it. They're telling other people about it. Oh, there's this girl on campus who wears a ton of makeup. There's this girl on campus who's a catfish. Like, please talk about it, because look where I am now. Hello?
Honestly, I have freaking chills. And I want to get to where you are now. Before we do, TikTok, when you first got on the app, what were you thinking? Did you have that business mindset of, ooh, I could scale this? Were you just doing it for fun? Like, what were your first videos like?
Oh my God, absolutely not. I don't even know why I blew up on TikTok. I have absolutely no idea.
Are you kidding me? Because you're the most lovable, you're hilarious, you're talented, and you're like the most genuine person in the makeup industry I've seen. And I love watching the YouTube videos. I follow all the drama, but you're like a normal person. I think that's why we love you.
Oh, thank you. It's crazy. When I made my TikTok, I didn't make it for myself. I made it for my mom because she's a social worker, and she works in a school, and we went virtual because of the pandemic. I literally made TikTok right when the pandemic hit the US, and I think a lot of people did. A lot of people downloaded the app right when that happened, because we needed something to do. And so the first videos I posted were just my mom giving her students a tour of our farm animals. They were just very wholesome videos of my mom. And I noticed they started blowing up a little bit. And I was like, this is so strange. I haven't promoted these videos. I don't have any followers on this account. What is TikTok? What is TikTok compared to Instagram and YouTube? And how is it different? And that's when I did my research on it. And I said to myself, I have had a dream. I've had a freaking dream, bro, since I was 8 years old to make an impact in the beauty world, in the makeup world. And I'm saying to myself, is this my chance? Is this my moment? Because if it is, I'm going to seize the damn day. So that's when I said, all right, let me figure out what's popular on TikTok and try to do it myself. So at the time, transition videos were huge. These cool makeup before and afters. And I said, all right, that's perfect. I'm going to try to learn how to do a transition. And that's what I loved about TikTok. I had no video editing skills, but TikTok was so easy. So I did my first transition video, posted it. It was on a Sunday. I put my phone down, and my phone starts blowing up. And I'm like, what is going on right now? My friends are texting me, and they're like, you just went viral on TikTok. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I open my phone. I'm on Yahoo News, BuzzFeed News. I'm on TV. And I'm like, what is going on right now?
Whoa.
It was fast. And that's what I've had trouble wrapping my head around.
Well, and what were the titles of those articles? Was it about the before and after, from makeup to no makeup? And was it positive?
Here's the sad thing about it. A lot of those titles were master catfish, or this girl's a supreme catfish. It wasn't about oh, check out her skills, bro. She's super talented. It was oh my God, new catfish alert. And that's sad. That's super sad. But I didn't obviously let that affect me. The next day I posted another one. And that one been
Yeah. Wait, it's like major bag alert, major bag. You saw the trend.
Yeah. And you know, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, because I was bullied and didn't fit in, and I grew up with severe depression, anxiety, and other mental health disorders, and I just felt like there's no way in hell that I could ever be a big beauty influencer. Like, I had no, like, belief in myself. I genuinely did not believe in myself. I thought I wasn't good enough, and I thought there's no way people are going to give a shit about me. Like, there's no way. But then, you know, I just started growing so rapidly, and it's insane to me still to this day. I hit 10 million followers last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I genuinely cannot believe it. It's insane, but it makes me feel very full that I get to pursue my dream. I feel very lucky and very blessed.
Well, you deserve it all. I mean, like for all the things that I said before, I do want to ask what has come along with the success that has been hard. I mean, on a smaller scale with 1 mil, I know the struggle of like, what's the trend and how do I get on it and how many TikToks should I be making a day, and now I've got to grow my business and what agency do I want to sign with and brand deals. I mean, how have you dealt with that as someone who's had anxiety and depression and these other disorders, not managing this insane success?
Oh yeah. I could tell you so much.
Tell me everything, Mikayla.
So I mean, obviously when you blow up and go viral, for a lot of people that can happen on TikTok, but then it kind of like dwindles down and it kind of just ends, you know. You have that little viral moment, but for me it was just viral, 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 and I didn't know what I was doing. I was a full-time student, a graduate student, may I add. Like I was getting my master's degree, and I'm also working at Ulta Beauty.
What was your master's in?
So my master's was going to be in communication, which is my bachelor's degree, but I dropped out because I decided to pursue this.
It all worked out.
Yeah. So, but that's kind of what I'm getting to is like, I had to make some of the hardest decisions of my life. Like, can this be a career? Like, can I do this long term? Like, am I going to be successful in this? I had no idea. So what I ended up doing was, I genuinely believe if something is put in front of you, you need to go after it, even if you're scared. And I was scared shitless. I'm not going to lie. I was super nervous and my anxiety was through the roof. But I said, all right, let me save up a year's worth of rent. And I'm going to move out of my parents' house. And I am going to go at this like hardcore. Like I am going to go in. And so that's what I did. I spent the entire summer of 2022 saving up every penny I made at Ulta. And I wasn't getting brand deals at this time. I wasn't getting any paid anything from TikTok. So I moved out of my parents' house in November 2020. And oh my gosh, first of all, moving out of your parents' house is a really good feeling. You have so much freedom, but that's kind of where my creativity started to like boom, because I had a beauty room. I had my own beauty room where I could film in, and I was just surrounded by makeup, and it was awesome.
Selfishly, the like creator in me wants the details on when you say go in, because people look at the outside looking, oh, you just sit there and you're so likable and you do your makeup, haha. No. How many videos were you making a day? How are you planning out the series as you were going to do? Like, how are you batching your film versus your edit time?
Oh yeah. So so this is kind of where the struggle comes in. There's good and bad to this, right? So I'm very type A. I've always been very, very type A, and I have high functioning anxiety. So for me, I've always been a workaholic my whole life. When I was in college full time, I had 4 jobs all at the same time because I'm a workaholic. I can never just sit down and do nothing. It's impossible for me, and it's scary for me to just sit down with my thoughts, which is sad, and I'm working on that. But it definitely plays a role. So for me, I've always gotten up really early. I'm an early bird. So I get up around 7 a.m., which is not that early for some people, but for me, it's early. I get up at 7 a.m. every day, and I immediately go to film. I walk straight into my beauty room. I don't do anything else, and I just go to film. And I will film until about noon. So from 7 to noon, I can get between 5 to 8 TikToks in. And so, for instance, with this look I have on currently, I was able to get 5 different TikToks out of it. So I try to like multi-use my makeup looks, and it makes for a lot of great content, which is awesome. But so from 7 to 12, there's the filming, and then, I do podcasts, I do interviews, I do emails, and that's usually like a 2 to 4 hour time span. And then my struggle is turning it off. I can't turn it off. So I'm editing videos, I'm engaging in my comment sections, I'm answering emails, and for some reason, I really struggle to just shut that off and like actually enjoy my life. So, for instance, last week I posted 40 videos and did not take a single day off. And that's...
Last week alone.
Oh, yeah.
40 videos on TikTok.
Yep.
How many is that a day? I'm so bad at math. Like 8?
I'm also really bad at math.
7?
I don't know.
Wait, 7 times 5 is 35. You posted 40. Holy shit, Mikayla. That's insane. I thought I was big balling when I was posting 4 a day. So wait, did you have to batch all of those?
What do you mean?
Like you filmed and edited them like the week before, or like that you woke up in the morning, edited 7 and posted 7?
So I call it a day of creator. I film the day of, edit the day of, post the day of. I don't have any drafts.
Wow. So you literally filmed and edited and posted 7 videos a day.
Precisely.
Holy shit. I mean, people, I'm speechless. I need to be like that. That's going to be, well, I mean, I know you're saying it was kind of damaging and it's not good for you, but that's the motivation I needed to know that I can do at least like 2 or 3 a day. Wait, I do have a question. Wait, sorry. Did I cut you off? Were you saying something? Okay. I'm curious because you're obviously so genuine and you're so kind. However, when you pull the camera out, I'm just imagining you at 8 a.m., like getting in the zone to be the best version of yourself that is funny and charming and witty and laughing. Everyone loves your laugh. I mean, is that something that you do feel like you have to turn on and off, like when the camera's on?
So this is like my genuine, honest answer to that. I honestly feel like ill saying this, but it's the genuine truth. I love makeup so much, and I'm like so aggressively passionate about it that I look forward to filming my videos so freaking much. I like lay down in bed at night and I'm like, can it be the morning? Like, I just love it. I love what I do so much that I can't wait to do it in the morning. And I've always been a morning person, so I'm not like tired or anything when I am filming, but like I get so much thrill from it. It's extremely enjoyable. And I think it goes along with like when you film something you're passionate about, it doesn't feel like work. For me, filming does not feel like work at all. It's like a hobby that I have that I get to do every single day, and it's freaking awesome.
That's amazing. And that is so inspiring to hear, just for anyone listening, to like find something or at least work to get to a place where you are really passionate about what you do, where you just have a little bit of it. I mean, I had that addiction to TikTok in the very beginning. I would literally go to bed thinking about TikToks, wake up thinking about TikToks. It's totally faded for me. I mean, there are certain videos I'm excited to film, but it's faded, but it's really refreshing as a fellow creator to hear you say that, because I want to get back to it. I mean, it's the best way to be. Like, the videos are better because you're excited about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think at the same time, though, I've struggled really bad to make time for myself, because when you love something so much, you just want to do it all the time. But at the same time, there's a line that needs to be crossed where like I have a fiance who deserves some time and devotion. I have family. I have friends. I have other hobbies and interests. And I need to be able to learn to shut off the content creator mind, which is very difficult if anyone's wondering. But I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to take a Saturday off and not pulling out your phone. It's incredibly difficult for me, but I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, it's wild. Now I'm gonna ask you something. It's gonna be a little. It's a hard question. It's a hard question, but I'm curious. It's real pod. You mentioned earlier, shutting it off, being alone with your own thoughts. You've alluded to now, this like workaholic energy. I know when I was that way, I was running from the stillness of not having a social life, not having people texting me to hang out. I was living with my parents in 2019, 2020 as well. So like my need to work was so I didn't have to think about the fact that I didn't have anything else to do. I'm curious if you have the awareness and you've thought about like what is the thing that you don't want to sit with?
Yeah, so it sucks to talk about, but it's so real. It's so real. For me, it's definitely my mental health that I do not want to sit with. I do not want to sit with my eating disorder. I don't want to think about it. When people try to talk to me about my eating disorder, like Cody or anyone, I just like shut down. I like don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about my depression. I don't want to talk about my anxiety. And I've really struggled with that. I've really struggled to like not do that.
Right.
And it sucks because like eating disorders is something that is so stigmatized and so misunderstood, and so there's still a lack of education on it, and people just don't talk about eating disorders. They're kind of like taboo to talk about, which sucks, because if we could openly talk about them, there would be such a change. But yeah, I need to like be okay with taking a day off and thinking about my eating disorder and what am I doing to take care of myself today.
Right. And thanks for sharing that. I know it's really hard. I will say you throughout the whole conversation have been so genuine. I would have never thought, because you alluded to all those things before, but I guess it is sometimes easier to like, genuinely pass a comment about something in conversation, but then when you really sit and think about it, like, yeah, shit's hard, and it's scary to think about like, oh, if this surfaces, am I just gonna cry and cry and cry? And like, I don't want to cry, I don't want to be sad, so let me just turn it off.
Yeah, I absolutely hate crying. It is so bad. I refuse to do it.
Really?
Which is funny because I do cry in videos sometimes, but that is me forcing myself to be vulnerable.
Oh my gosh.
Which is good. I do need to cry sometimes,
So then I'm guessing therapy is not a part of your day-to-day or weekly life then, right? Because that would be the talking you don't want to do.
That's therapy is such a tough thing for me. I have gone to so many therapists, and it gets to a point where I just give up because I hate talking about it. Which is horrible. I need to like be okay to talk about these things. And I need to be okay with seeing a psychiatrist if I need to. I need to be okay with going to I'm also someone who absolutely is terrified of hospitals and doctors and anything like that. And you will not, if I break my arm, not going to the doctor.
Oh my gosh.
It's horrible. But it's just, childhood traumas and fears and all that stuff that's sort of built up to adulthood. And I think just for anyone listening, yes, I've struggled with therapy and going to therapy, but therapy does work. Therapy is very important if you're able to do it. And I think anyone who has access to therapy should do it. Even if you think your life is going all great and grand, do it anyways, because usually, we need to talk about things, even if it's the little things,
It's making me think of a therapy session I had like a few months ago that I really didn't want to go to. Like I made the appointment, pissed at myself that I even made it, but I knew there was something that happened that I needed to talk through. And I was so anxious about going and I was dreading it. And I just thought this is going to be so freaking hard. And it wasn't that hard. I didn't even end up crying as much as I thought. You realize like, holy shit. One, it's not as bad as I thought. Two, I am strong enough to handle this. And three, I'm gonna be okay,
Oh yeah. the last therapist I had, I sat down on the couch terrified. I was shaking. And she's like, "How are you?" And I just like burst into tears.
Obviously not good. I'm here, okay?
But I think, yeah, it's like once you, and for me, all the therapist offices I've gone to are very like cozy and welcoming and have a couch and pillows and blankets and stuff. And usually once you start talking, it just starts flowing out of you, and you become comfortable. And then with each session as it goes on, you become more and more comfortable, digging deeper and deeper. And I think if you can stick with it, it's really incredible. And I have to make myself stick with it.
But hey, it's okay. You said a few times, like, it's horrible of me, horrible. You're human. And like, that's okay. I think nowadays everyone is pushing this, seek help. It's not something to be ashamed of, blah, blah, blah. That's great. And that helps people. And it's great. But it is still hard. And it's okay to be like when I have a thought come into my head of, I did not fit into a dress last weekend. I brought it. It didn't zip. I'm, of course, having thoughts of, oh my gosh, have I gained weight? Like the eating disorder thoughts come back in. Should I not eat today? I'm going to cry about it. What does my fiance think? He was the one trying to zip me. What about the wedding? All those thoughts come. And then this week I've caught myself like almost thinking I should eat less or like watch what I'm eating. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. This shit's been really hard for me. I live in a world of the diet culture. A dress didn't fit. I get why this is happening. It's fine. I'm a human. Like, talking to yourself the way that I would consult you or you would console me,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've definitely grown to, so in the last year I gained 50 pounds in my eating disorder recovery because I went from stabbing myself to, eating normally and also, just exploring food a little bit more. And I went from a size small to a size large, and I'm like so open about it. I weigh 175 pounds. I'm a size large. I love my body. I love to look. I can look in the mirror and feel okay. I can put on clothes that are bigger than what I'm used to putting on, and love how I look and have confidence. And I think that's really important. I don't weigh myself. I don't stand on a scale. I don't do that.
Me either.
I don't think anybody should do that. What's the point?
Literally.
But yeah.
I totally agree. It's like your gravitational pull to the earth. Why do I need that number? I feel like stepping on a scale, 90% of the time, you're asking that electronic device, can I like myself today? Honestly, how is that number affecting how you're going to do in your job, pay your rent, how you're going to interact with your loved ones? It's not. It's literally a, can I like myself today? Number, please tell me the answer. And so I agree. I haven't weighed myself in like 3 years. However, speaking of things that we are burying deep, dark down and we don't want to talk about, I'm like terrified to ever find out how much I weigh. It's bad.
Oh no, well, no. You have to be okay with the number.
Yeah, I mean that it's interesting, right? Because here I am like preaching and thinking like, oh, it doesn't matter what size you are. I also wear a large. Sometimes depending on the dresses, I'm anywhere from a 6, 8, 10, 12. It just, everything these days doesn't fit normally. But yeah, the number on the scale, I guess I've always thought if I accidentally saw it at the doctor's office or something, that it would send me in a spiral. I don't know. Maybe that's something. Maybe if I'm sitting here saying, Mikayla, you got to make a therapy appointment. You're like, you're going to figure out how much you weigh and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I think like at the end of the day, I do know how much I weigh. And in the past that would have like destroyed me to be 170. I'm only 4'11", so 175 pounds is a little bit bigger for my height. But in the past, I would have totally shut down. I would have started starving myself, going to the gym for excessive hours in the day, having my bulimia act up on me. And now, today, I can just, I don't step on the scale, but in the past where I did, I saw the number and I said, all right, like, that's it.
Right. It's just a number. I love that. Well, what's on tap for you upcoming? Like, have you continued to just be full speed ahead now that you really have gone through a cloud of success, like you can take time off. Like you can, so how are you, what's upcoming and how are you going to navigate it with your mental health?
Well, I have to be honest. I booked a cruise.
I love that for you.
I booked a cruise for it's not until July, but it is happening, and I'm like really excited about it because I get to take actual time off. And I haven't been on a cruise since I was 8, so it's gonna be sick. But 2020 was insane. That's the year my life changed. That's the year I went viral and I saw my potential for real. 2021 was magical. I literally met the love of my life. Like, oh my God. I came out with a dream collection with Glamlight Cosmetics. I had my face on a PI box. It's behind me right now. It was for Glow Recipe, one of my favorite skincare brands. I did so much in 2020 and I kept saying like, 2020 was the best year of my life. Well, I genuinely am predicting that 2022 is going to be the best year of my life so far. Because there are some incredible things happening this year that absolutely 100% top last year. And I'm just like wicked excited to just be able to finally share a lot of these things with people that I'm just holding in because it's going to be super awesome. I'm so excited.
That is incredible. I'm so excited for you too to be following along. And the very last thing I want to ask you, because I'm just curious, is we've talked a lot about being yourself and doing what feels true to you. Obviously, the makeup artist industry, there's a lot of big names. There's a lot of drama, a lot of history there. As you continue to get more success and more followers and all those things, have you thought about how you're going to grow in that industry, or do you have any feelings about crossing that realm? And when people talk about you in the same conversation as other creators, I mean, do you think about that?
It's interesting. I'm a very stay in my lane kind of person. And this is the genuine truth. I do not give a shit about drama. That's other people's problems. I don't have any drama in my life, and I'm a very, very, very positive person, and I always have a smile on my face even when I'm feeling down. And to be honest with you, I don't want to get to the level of some of the massive mega beauty influencers. I don't have a desire to get that big. I don't know. It's too much. For someone as anxious as me, it's too much.
Are you not that big? You have freaking over 10 million followers across social media. What are you talking about?
I'm talking like the big people. I don't see myself as that big. I don't really know though, because I don't see it from other people's perspective. I just want to be able to continue to connect with my audience, continue to connect with the people who rose me up and the people who supported me and gave me a chance. Like, parasocial relationships are an interesting thing, but for me, people gave me a chance, and I was never given a chance. So the fact that 10 million people did give me a chance, I just want to stay connected with those people. I never want to get too big for my britches, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I hear you. And I love how humble you are and genuine you are. And I loved talking with you. So thank you so much for taking the time and for being willing to maybe talk about some of those things that you don't often and are harder. I appreciate it. I think this episode is just so impactful and just says a lot about being who you really want to be, whatever that means for anyone listening, and how there's so many beautiful things that can come from that. So Mikayla, thank you. I was a huge fan. I am even more of a huge fan. I'm rooting for you, and your makeup looks fire today.
Thank you so much. I will end with this. If you are scared to be yourself because you're scared of what the people in your life or around you will do or say, maybe those people aren't meant to be in your life. So, do you.
Absolute tea. We are ending it there. Retweet. Thanks, Mikayla.
Thank you.